Hello, welcome back to Him Reads, and next in the Felicity stories is Felicity Learns a Lesson. Chapter 1, Apple Butter Day. Felicity Merriman sat atop the roof of her house and tilted her face up to the sun. The rooftop was a fine place to be on the bright blue October morning like this. Felicity leaned back on the chimney. She put one leg on either side of the steep roof. The shingles were warm against her bare legs. A restless breeze played with her petticoats. Felicity shaded her eyes with her hand and looked over the treetops and rooftops of Williamsburg. She watched a brightly red cardinal bird swoop across the sky. Felicity grinned. How lovely it must feel to fly wherever you want to go with nothing holding you down, she thought. Lissy, Lissy, she heard her sister Nan call her. Felicity decided to ignore Nan. She knew that Nan wanted today was Apple Butter Day. That's why Felicity was on the roof. This was supposed to be picking apples for Mother to make into apple butter. The best apples were at the very top of the tree when the branches hung over the roof. So Felicity fetched a ladder, climbed up to the roof, and filled her apple sack quickly and easily. Now Nan wanted her turn to pick apples. She wanted Felicity to work in the hot, stuffy kitchen, stirring the pot of sticky apple mush. Felicity was not ready to go in. Felicity pulled out one of the apples out of the sack and rubbed it against her sleeve. She took a big bite. Felicity seemed to taste the warm summer sun and the wild rains of September and the cool, dark, starry nights of autumn in that juicy, tart bite. Between chews, Felicity wiggled her loose tooth with her thumb. She couldn't wait for it to fall out. Ben, her father's apprentice, was teaching her to whistle with fingers in her mouth. She thought losing the tooth would help. Felicity tried whistling. If I whistle loud enough, she thought, Nan and everyone in Williamsburg would hear me. They'd see me up here on the roof, as high as a flag. She smiled. Wouldn't that be fine? Lissy! She heard Nan call again. Where are you? I'm up here, Felicity answered. She waved to Nan from her porch. Lissy! Yelped Nan. She sounded scared. Mother, she called, come quick. Lucy's on the roof. Mother, come and see. Whatever's the matter, Nan? Asked Mrs. Merriman. She rushed out of the kitchen. Felicity's brother William toddled behind her. What's on the roof? She looked up. When she saw Felicity, she gasped. Oh, my gracious. Lissy! Then she said in a very stern voice, Felicity Merriman, I will not shout for all the world to hear. Come down from the roof immediately. Yes, Mother, said Felicity. She slid down the roof till her was sinking feeling. I've done something wrong ahead again, she thought to herself. Felicity scrambled down the ladder so quickly she scraped her knee, lost her footing, and jumped the last few feet to the ground. When she landed, her mother felt her all over as if she might have broken bones. Goodness, Lissy, she said, you gave me such a fright. Climbing way up on the roof like that. What were you thinking? Well, it didn't seem dangerous, said Felicity. There were so many apples on top of the tree. So you thought you could fetch apples faster, is that it? Impatient as usual, said her mother. She put her hands on Lissy's shoulders and said gently but firmly, You are near to 10 years of age, Felicity. That's old enough to know what's a danger to you. That's too old to be acting careless and childish. Felicity shifted the apple sack off her shoulder. I'm sorry. I know you are, said her mother kindly, but I do wish you would stop and think before you act. Sometimes you have no more sense than a giddy goose, she sighed. And let us know no one saw you on the roof with your petticoats blowing above your knees, bare-legged as a newborn babe. 'Tis wrong and unseemly for a girl your age. Now put your shoes up and stockings on and come inside and quick as you can. Nan will finish picking apples. Felicity trailed along behind her mother to the kitchen house. Her heart was as heavy as the apple sack. The kitchen was dark compared to outside. The air was hot and thick. Rose the cook was peeling apples, slicing them into fork parts and dropping them in a pot of water. Another big pot full of apple mush was bubbling by the fire. Mrs. Merriman pointed to it. You stir, Lissy, she said. Don't let apples stick to the pot. And mind you, don't scorch your petticoats by the fire. Felicity stirred with a long wooden spoon. Round and round, again and again, she stirred the apple mush till her arms ached. It was tiresome work and dull. Her hair stuck to her sweaty neck. Her hands were sore, and her back was stiff. As soon as one batch of apples was cooked soft, Rose put it away and started another pot on the fire. Felicity tried to hide her impatience, but after a while she couldn't help asking, "It's not enough. Haven't we made hundreds of pounds of apple butter by now?" "Goodness no," said her mother. "A whole pound of apples makes only 1 pint of apple butter." "Pints are very small," Felicity sighed. "It seems to be a great deal of work for a little bit of butter. I don't think it's worthwhile," she said. "And once the apple butter's been eaten, there's nothing to show for all the hard work. You're left with nothing at all." Mrs. Merriman laughed. "I remember thinking just the same when I was your age," she said. "And 'tis true, there's nothing left that anyone can see, but I know that I provide for my family, and that pleases me." She looked kindly at Felicity. "Caring for a family is a responsibility and a pleasure. It will be your most important task, and one that you must learn to do well. I want you to be a notable housewife when you are grown." "Notable?" asked Felicity. "Yes," said Mrs. Merriman. "A notable housewife runs her house smoothly so that everyone is happy and healthy. Her life is private and quiet. She is content doing things for her family." "Things nobody ever sees," said Felicity. "Aye," agreed her mother, "but many lovely things are private and hidden." She picked up one of her apples. "Look," she said. She sliced the apple in half across its fat middle, instead of top to bottom. She held the halves up to Felicity. "Have you ever seen the flower that is hidden inside every apple?" she said. "It's there for those who know how to find it. See?" Felicity grinned at her mother. There was indeed a flower inside the apple. "Well, my mother showed that to me when I was a girl, and we made apple butter together," said Mother. "She taught me how to sew and cook and plant and garden and run a household. Now I'm teaching you. Someday you will teach your daughter." "Oh dear," said Felicity. "It seems a great deal to learn." "Indeed, yes," said Mrs. Merriman, "and that is not all you must know how to do. When I was your age, I had special lessons with my aunt. She taught me the proper way to act in polite society. She taught me how to serve tea and how to be a gracious hostess." She smiled at the memory. "How I loved those lessons with my aunt. I felt like a graceful young lady instead of a gawky little girl." Felicity wiggled her too. She didn't say anything, but the lessons her mother described sounded fussy to her. Mrs. Merriman looked at Felicity thoughtfully. "Perhaps it's time for you," she began. Then she caught sight of the pot in the apple mush. "Mercy," she said. "Stir, Lissy, that batch is near burning." And she did not finish the sentence she began. But a few nights later, Felicity found out what her mother had been about to say. It was after supper. Everyone was gathered in the parlor around the fire. Its warmth was welcome, for the sun set early in these fall evenings, and the dusk was chilly. Felicity sat on a low stool next to Nan. She was helping Nan learn to read the Lord's Prayer printed on her hornbook. Nan tilted the hornbook toward the firelight. "Thy kingdom come," she read slowly. "Lissy," she said, "whose kingdom do we live in? God's or the King of England's?" Well, I suppose," answered Felicity. "Isn't that right, Father?" Mr. Merriman was holding William on his knee and playing chess with Ben, the young apprentice who helped Mr. Merriman in his store. He looked over his daughters and nodded. "Aye," he said, "we live in the colony of Virginia, which belongs to the King of England. He rules us, even though he lives far away. Virginia is part of his kingdom." "But Virginia is part of God's kingdom, too," said Felicity. "Because the whole world and heaven and all the stars and everything theirs belong to God. See what it says here in the rest of the prayer. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." That means God rules both heaven and earth. "Which word says heaven?" asked Nan. "The one right here," said Felicity. She pointed to it and read, "Heaven, Heaven. You can read everything, can't you, Lissy?" asked Nan. "Not everything yet," said Felicity, "but I do love to read. I love to attend the college here in Williamsburg and read Greek and Latin and philosophy and geography, just as young gentlemen do." "Oh, Lissy," laughed Nan. "That's silly. Girls aren't taught at the college." Ben looked up from his chessboard and grinned. "Maybe you pretend to be a boy," he said. "I have a pair of breeches you may borrow." Felicity grinned back, but then she sighed. "I don't see why girls can't be educated, too." Mrs. Merriman looked up from her stitching and spoke. Girls should be educated. Not in Latin and Greek, but in things they need to know to be accomplished young ladies. She looked at Mr. Merriman with a question in her eyes. Mr. Merriman nodded and smiled, and then he said in a very pleased voice, Felicity, your mother and I have decided it's time to begin your education. Felicity sat up. Am I to be an apprentice, father? She asked hopefully. Some girls were apprentices. They learned to be seamstresses, or to make hats, or even work in shops. Felicity had always dreamed of working in her father's store. Goodness, no, exclaimed her mother. You are fortunate enough to be the daughter of Edward Merriman, one of Williamsburg's most important merchants. You are to be educated as a gentlewoman. Oh, said Felicity. She was disappointed. What am I to learn? Things my aunt taught me, answered Mrs. Merriman. You will have lessons in dancing, handwriting, fancy stitchery, the proper way to serve tea. Tea? Interrupted Ben. Lessons about serving tea. Indeed, yes, said Mrs. Merriman. A lady's manners are judged by the way she serves tea. My mother brought her best teapot with her when she left England to come to Virginia. She used to say the king himself would feel at home at her tea table. She served tea as properly in Virginia as any lady did in London. Now Felicity must learn to serve tea properly too. Tea and stitchery, sighed Nan. The lessons sound lovely. I'm not very good at those quiet, sitting down kind of things, said Felicity. Well, said Mrs. Merriman calmly, then you must improve yourself. Felicity was beginning to feel trapped. She said, Who will be my teacher? A very respectable gentlewoman named Miss Manderley, said Mr. Merriman. She's going to give lessons to 2 other young ladies. They are sisters, and their family has just come here from England. Mrs. Manderley has kindly agreed to let you join them. Ooh, squealed Nan. Young ladies from England. They probably know the very most proper way to do everything, Lucy. The young ladies from England will be learning from Mrs. Merriman just as Felicity will, said Mr. Merriman. They will surely learn the proper and polite behavior as the same in Virginia as it is in England. Felicity sighed. She could see these lessons were going to be boring and tiresome. I would much rather spend my time out of doors, she thought. I would rather be horseback riding or playing or digging in my garden. But Felicity knew she could not argue or pout or say she would not go to Miss Manderley's. That would not be respectful. Besides, Felicity was sure it would not do no good at all. The lessons begin in 3 days' time, said Mrs. Merriman. So we must set up to work tomorrow to make your best cap and stockings and clothes. Aye, agreed Mr. Merriman. He smiled at Felicity fondly. Our pretty Lissy must look her very best. She will begin her lessons looking like the finest young lady in Virginia and all of England, too. She will make us proud, to be sure. Felicity smiled weakly. She was not at all sure. She pushed her against her loose tooth with her tongue until it hurt. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.